Well, he needs no introduction, everybody, but here he is. We have a special one-on-one with the wonderful.
Oh, Dan Matsuda.
Yes. All right, Dan. So I just wanted to run few through things for the people out there that are in our carry community, chomping at the bit for the next product that gets pumped out, and how creative and just amazing your products are. So my first question really is, it's this whole theme is what inspires you and how do you stay true to your vision and style? So the first, which many already know, but let's just put it out there. How long have you been producing in the carry community?
Uh, since 2006.
That's a long
I
time.
would, yeah. Um, that was my actual start date. However, the first 4 or 5 years was very much being a junior designer and trying to figure it out. But I was, I'm grateful to have that experience around people who were experienced in that industry that we were serving, but also kind of inexperienced enough to learn with me because I
Right.
didn't unfortunately have any like experienced mentors with that. The people I was with were talented, but we kind of had to learn manufacturing and a little bit of industrial design and development together, and that was great. But yeah, it doesn't feel like a long time. I feel like I'm the same person I was then that I am now. Maybe that's not a good thing, but
You look the same. You haven't
yeah,
aged a,
thank you.
day. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I've been buying a lot of vitamins off of the dark web, so they work.
There you go.
Uh, um, but yeah, like the thing that does feel the most different is the just general environment or the state of carry or the hobby or EDC then compared to where it is now is very different. Um, I have friends from that space that I made then that are I still keep in contact with now. We talk about that all the time. Where I remember when people were ashamed to carry pocket knives, where it
Mhm.
was kind of like a thing where like, oh, I don't want to get outed and people to think I'm a weirdo for doing that. I remember and like I'm saying this like it's a long time ago, and it's not really, but where people were ashamed of buying more than one backpack
Oh
because
yeah.
even as early as the early 2000s, backpacks for the male consumer was still looked at as like luggage.
Mm.
So like a guy was buying a new backpack once every a couple of years if you're in college, and then if you're a young professional, you're carrying a backpack. One, you're a dork, and two, if you have more than one, you're a super dork. So it's like, great, how are we going to do this?
Well, you
But
showed them. Hmm.
yeah, well, it was a very unique position to be in because of the nature of how Triple Lot Designs um, sort of
Mm.
direction
Hmm.
was growing at that time. We had a lot of like potential, and everyday the EDC community was still kind of new, where like flashlight tech was changing,
Mm.
custom knives were like probably at its highest, um, and somewhere in between like outerwear and bags were still kind of like shoved to the side, but bags eventually kind of grew to a place because I promise you, no one was excited about carrying bags then. The only person I actually ever met who was interested in bags in the same way that people were with knives was Taylor. And I just remember being like, oh my God, you're such an unusual person because you're the
Yeah.
only one I've
Yeah.
ever met who had the same enthusiasm. So it was no wonder why I got along with him right away.
So
But
thinking
yeah.
thinking way back to the beginning, can you remember like your first design inspiration? Like, you see a commercial or you see something on the bus or you see somebody with something, you're like, whoa, hey, wait, I think I can do something like that. Do you recall anything like that just hitting you, or because you were working more of an industrial sort of scene where that was pretty much saturating you?
hmm Um, Not really. I mean, nothing specific. Um, I would say that a lot of what creatively drove us then is, or the method that we were kind of living off of then is the same kind of idea that I use now, which is nothing specific. Like I don't tend to go project by project looking at like creating a mood board and building customer character or building like matrices and like going through and like examining use cases. And I don't engineer the product approach in that way so much as just the guttural sort of like, what does the visual sort of lens look like? What is
Mm-hmm.
because for what we're doing at Sample, it's kind of in the safe space where like it's lifestyle. It's has a little bit of tech in it. Like I don't have to worry about playing in the outdoor space. I don't have to worry about playing in the tactical stuff. I can overlap with that when need be. But so when it comes to inspiration, I just always fall back onto my own personal, my creative lens, which is what we were doing at TAD. And so that's kind of why I brought that up. At that time, when we were talking about the stuff that we liked making, that was the only stuff we were making was stuff that we liked. So the
Mm-hmm.
Ranger hoodie, the Stealth hoodie, the Merino program, the base layers, the pants, all of the web gear, all of the backpacks was stuff that we just wanted. And that's what drove us to do it. And then when
Right.
it came to figuring out, well, how do we budget for it? What is the angle we're going to take? Like we wanted to be ourselves and we wanted to do something unique and interesting. And so that part's easy because we're drawing from our personal sort of creative influences. And for me, that hasn't changed much. I draw a lot on uh, like science fiction,
Mm-hmm.
subculture, and some of my own personal heritage stuff. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why those three graphics I drew for Sample exist, is that those are the three buckets. As long as everything we do lands in at least some of those things, at least one, or there's a little overlap, that I know that it's on brand and I can move forward. I don't have to like pause and sort of uh, double check all of our brand steps in that way. So
Oh, right. You're not trying to adhere to a concept because the concept's within you. So that brings up something good. You mentioned science fiction and things that do inspire you. So, this has happened to me, and I'm sure it has happened to you. There are times when you see something that is just so cool and so inspiring, you're like, man, you're almost to the point where you want to copy it. But how do you keep from doing that you personally? Like, how do you channel that desire of appropriation into inspiration?
I guess it just depends on your intentions. Um, like that can vary with where your head's at when you see that thing. So if you're mobbing around and you're trying to figure out the next best thing and you see
Mhm.
something and that inspiration or that thing becomes inspiration, then I think your intention is to copy that thing. Like that's
Hmm.
just how it is. If you're in a 4 hour meeting and you leave and you're like, well, we need to come up with, we need to massage this pitch. We need to change our product line. Like, where are we at? And then you see something like, oh my God, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. Your intention is to copy it.
I see.
But there's a difference between, in my opinion, copying and being inspired. Like those, they're capable of being two different manifestations. And yeah, like how we define what the end result is very different, especially when it's in the hands of the consumer. Because once they have it, they can also determine like, oh, this is a copy of 511 or this is a knockoff of whatever. And like, that's out of your control too. But in the beginning, intentions can be good and they can also like come to market and be misinterpreted too. So
Correct.
um,
Okay.
my
Yeah.
intention is always to um, pick the decision that feels right in that moment. But there, again, there is a difference that like if my intention is to meet a deadline and whatever, I'm chopping heads, then like, yeah, it's possible to make bad decisions. And that's what a process is for, is to like check that shit as you go along. And so, yeah, it's possible. It can happen at any step of the way. But that's where being a designer is different than purely just taking an artistic approach to something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but design has checkpoints in place to ensure that the things you're communicating with your work are effectively done and you're not like stepping on anyone's toes, including legal reasons, or you're missing any points that are in the design brief that there are necessary features that need to be met, and that kind of stuff. So,
Wow,
um,
that is powerful. That is really well said. Thank you.
cool. I, I know that sometimes like these kinds of subjects can be a little rambling, but I mean, yeah, like I like that kind of stuff. So,
That's really awesome. I love that. And that was kind of how I feel your product too. It speaks of you. You know, I think that your product line it feels really diverse as it is, even though it is I don't know, very consistent. And I think it's because that soul bit there that I'm feeling. I mean, your style is unmistakable. It's like I'm listening to like a soundtrack that takes me through your products, you know? And so I wonder, like, how do you, I guess you answered it already. Maybe you're just inspired by what you want and what moves you at the time, but do you feel that like there's always more, or do you tend to focus more on current products for further refinement? You mentioned earlier that you don't really necessarily pull a character through, but you know, that's something when you feel, man, we got to make more stuff. People are sick of what we have, or you even feel like I want to make something new. Does that inspiration internally come from something that you're just trying to further refine, or just something new altogether? Or maybe it varies.
yeah, that's a big question. So I think what you're asking is where where does my energy level with attention to products like where does that exist? Am I hyper focused on getting one thing across the finish line versus um, continuing to maintain the same amount and similar amount of attention and sort of inspiration onto design in general as to like it doesn't have to be a previous product, it can be a new product. Is that kind of what you're
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you
okay?
decide, oh, you know what? I think that what we're already doing, my history of my design has been effective. Maybe I'll just improve upon that. Like the new full zip versus the half zip. Was that
Mhm.
an improvement on an old product, or do you feel like that was just, hey, you know what? Just something completely new I want to try and work on?
Mhm. The most recent, the half zip, is for sure just a like a redesign, I guess, a chance to go back and kind of fix some components. So in that way, it's not. I don't see it as a new product. My enthusiasm to address that program again wasn't because my I was not because I was in the state of mind of like trying to perfect anything. It was really because of doing live streams. And what I mean is by putting the question out there and saying like, hey, what are you like? What are you guys feeling? Because I was not doing any of that until recently. I was able to take feedback in a way that like so the full zip the panel loader came from Instagram live almost at 100% where people are like hey what about when are you going to do something like this because without doing that I would have never touched it. I specifically wanted nothing to do with the clamshell full zip bag because of the light speed because I was just like
Mm-hmm.
quite honestly just fucking over it and I
Yep.
don't want
Yep.
anything to do with that. I don't want to deal with any phone calls that come back and have them say like, "Oh, you're, what are you doing?" or whatever. And I was like, "You know what? That's a ridiculous thing. Um, it's a 180-degree panel loading bag. I know how to do this. This is I want to do something that like if I was going to make this type of bag for this brand, what would I do?" And that was the attitude because I knew that there was enough people interested in doing it.
Yep.
And so that same kind of, I guess, information source from people engaging with me was the same thing to address the half step again. It's like, okay, well, I know that because at that point I thought maybe people are over it or they think the bag sucks or whatever. But yeah, it gave me enough confidence to be like, okay, well, if I do add some features and people constantly are asking for that top pocket, like this is the bag to add it on. Let me at least try that. And so, but to answer your question, don't I don't maintain my interest level in products that way. So again, without using or forcing myself to engage on live streams, I would have never known to do that. Um, there's a really old meme or this chart that my friend sent me, who's he's a designer in the entertainment industry, and it was basically like a timeline of designers where it's like the project kickoff, you're like you think that you're going to change the world, and then the second step is like you believe in how much effort you're putting into it, and then the third day it's like, yeah, you're really feeling it, and it's closer to finalizing it, then you kind of hate it, and then you're considering changing your job, and then by the time the project's done you hate your work and you never want to look at it again. Like that, I relate to that heavily, even though like I'm proud of my work and like I do appreciate the outcomes. Like we all work really hard to get that stuff done. So I'm not gonna shit on it in that way, but I relate to that 100%. When the bag's done, like I don't fucking want to look at that thing. Like I'm so exhausted because you are intimately involved. You knew all the things with that. That's never changed. And again, that's not me trashing on my stuff, but that's like it's to the design process when you're involved at 100% is exhausting. And um, like the stuff I'm most proud of on in the consumer space that it includes what we're doing here, but also for other businesses, is the same way. Like, even though I should be really proud and people like assume that like, oh my God, like that's so cool. Like, God, I'm still embarrassed. Like, I don't know if it's really like embarrassment, but like, it's exhausting.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's hard to, and I don't know, maybe because I just don't have the right level of confidence with that kind of thing. I
Well,
don't, yeah.
you're very brave to do your online talk. I really, I mean, I think that's amazing to me because I mean, this Carry crowd, it's one of the most creative. But I'm also thinking like perhaps also the most critical demographics I've ever encountered. So, like,
Mhm.
say you do have a design that just feels great, and then you put it out there, and you get like this terrible response. And aside
Mhm.
from being good business, bad business, but like emotionally, how do you shake that off, or are you even really affected?
I'm affected. I've that's one thing I've not gotten any better at. Um, I want to, and I put real effort into like when I see or hear um, maybe unuseful, purposely negative criticism. Um, in the moment, I try to catch myself like, okay, here it is. Like, just, right? Like, it is what it is. These people, that's their
Right.
opinions. We have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. I made the decision to put myself out there. I should have to accept it, but it doesn't get any better. And it's never changed. I mean, we have different social engagement tools on the internet now, and people still use it the same way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You would think that if, as you get older, you get better at it, and I haven't. I mean, I think about that a lot because as the brand has grown, and I'm very grateful for that. It has. We have more eyes on us now, which means we have more people who are like super brutal, and like so every now and then I'll accidentally see comments where it's like, who do you think you are? Why would you charge that? Like, I don't give a shit. I'm like, okay, all right. And like,
Yeah.
and I could hear it and it'll ruin the rest of my day, but I don't know. I wish I could tell you I have all these great strategies, but I don't because it sucks. Like, because that person doesn't care. They're gonna say something and move on about their day, but they have no idea, Um, it's kind of a tangent, but like when someone heckles a comic, they have no idea how much effort they put into that 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, or that one joke, how much work they put into it. And then one guy gets drunk and sits up front and talks shit and just ruins it. Like, again,
Yeah.
I'm not saying what I'm doing is comedy, but like it doesn't take much for someone to be sort of insensitive in that way, not to understand and kind of make you spiral. But like, I want them to have the freedom of speech to speak up, and they do. They definitely do. I need to get better on my side to like brace for it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think it's just really hard. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that I mean our generation is prepared for. And you know,
Hmm.
it's a whole new language. So I mean I commend you for bringing in that feedback and for listening to you know, people's positives and negatives. And I think that I love that you just stay true to your work. I mean it's so inspiring. Your work has always inspired me, even just the artwork and everything itself. It's inspired me to really love to create things. Like I've always written short stories, so I like that patches could be small art, and I've you know it's just a short expression that I'm into that. But
Hmm.
overall, your inspiration to me has really been be true to yourself, you know, make good decisions in the moment, work with the skills you have, and expand upon that and offer, you know, offer what you have. And you know, you're just doing a great job.
Cool. Thank you. Thank
But
you.
just thank you for doing what you do and just keep going. Wow, we've gotten a lot and thank you. That's very inspirational. We'll go ahead and move on to our next interviewee. Thank you, Dan. Is there anything that you'd like to add to this crowd before we wrap it up?
Uh, no, I mean, thank you to everyone to for for joining, and I am constantly impressed and shocked and with seeing the growth of this group, and not just Careology, but in general the interest level of design and carry goods and the tools and everything. It's so nice and comforting to see that there's other people who like this stuff. Nothing feels better than meeting someone who shares an interest in something that is from a completely different background. And so it's all warm and fuzzy. Like I really like I don't know. I appreciate being around and seeing people get into this. So yeah, thanks for considering me.
Well, thank you, Dan. All right.